Okay, we're going to push on if we can to the Premier League over the weekend, and I suppose in the context of what's to come tomorrow night, Eamon, because I was watching the game on Saturday evening, and Manchester City could have been 4 or 5 up if Sterling had his shooting boots in, and I was thinking, God, they could win this cricket score. All of a sudden United come out, and your old pal Paul Pogba seems to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. It was amazing to watch, really.
Yeah, I mean, they don't defend well at all. I mean, they conceded 6 goals in 2 matches last week, the 2 biggest matches of the season, arguably. And they don't defend at all. But it's fair to say that Sterling could have had a hat-trick in the first half, and he missed one at the end as well. But there's something wrong in that team defensively, and it's a bit like Rory McIlroy. It's either all duck or no dinner. In a way, brilliance, you see, is a different thing from greatness. And I saw them at Everton on the Saturday before they played Liverpool, and I thought they'd beat Liverpool over 2 legs comfortably. They were brilliant against Everton, who aren't very good. But brilliance is one thing. Greatness is something more solid and something that can be repeated, and there's a resilience. They lack that, and I think it's Guardiola. Look at the back 4 against Manchester United. Danilo, an unknown Brazilian, a squad player at Real Madrid. Otamendi, a walking goal machine in his own goal. Fabian Delph, a failed Aston Villa midfield player playing left back, and Vincent Kompany. This is what he fielded in the 2 biggest games of the season.
Is Vincent Kompany, does he belong in that category? I mean, would you put him down?
No, he's a very good pro. He organises what's around him. He scored the first goal against United. It was a good goal. No, he's a good pro. But what I'm saying is he's been there nearly 2 years now, and he hasn't got this fellow Laporte. They paid 59 million for. Looks like he might be another rather ordinary defender, and they're going to have to defend. Can you imagine what Messi or Ronaldo or Lewandowski would do to the Manchester City defence?
It's been pointed out, Eamon, today, I suppose, in the aftermath of Saturday and then Liverpool as well, that there is a bit of a trait with Guardiola here, in that when he was at Bayern, when it came down to the semi-finals twice against Real and Barca, 15-minute spells, conceded 2 or 3 goals. He's done it with Barcelona as well in crucial matches. Last season at Manchester City against Paris Saint-Germain, against Monaco, I should say, the same thing. And then we saw it again against Liverpool, that they go through 15-20 minutes where they just seem to switch off, and they're vulnerable at the back, and they don't know how to stop what's coming at them.
Yeah, well, I mean, when he was at Bayern Munich, Real Madrid beat them 5-0 on aggregate in the semi-final. I mean, I close my argument. And if you read some of his fans in the media, and nearly all the media are his fans, and some of the pundits, this man is trying to reinvent football. And what he seems to be saying is, look, you don't really need a defence. You can defend in the other team's half. Forget all that stuff about great defenders. He's wrong. He's wrong. They will never win the Champions League. I mean, just a week ago, a lot of people that I respect, including John Giles, thought they had a great chance of winning the Champions League. They never had a hope of winning the Champions League against the teams that are left in it with Ronaldo, Messi, Suarez and people like that to face. Never had a hope.
So are you okay? And obviously there's one piece in the Irish Times, Ken's piece today.
But it's unbelievable. I mean, don't go there.
I enjoyed it, I have to say.
Yeah, all right. Tell me what was he saying?
Well, I suppose the fundamental point of the piece was that Guardiola, in how he has coached teams to play attacking football, has really, I suppose, sparked a way of thinking about the game that has been different from what we've seen before. And
Go on.
Yeah, no, and that basically, he has coached players to become better players by playing the style of football that we see at the likes of Barcelona and Bayern Munich as well, and going forward, and equally at Manchester City, who have won the Premier League at a canter this year. So there might be, I suppose, a question mark over his defence, but ultimately he is an excellent attacking coach.
Well, let me quote you what the people that Ken refers to as contemporaries and people that should be admired the way Guardiola is. One of them is a chef. He's a Catalan chef, and he's a confidant of Pep. His name is Ferran Adria, who's so dedicated to his craft that he closed his world-famous restaurant El Bulli in order to concentrate more fully on the pursuit of culinary excellence. Now, come on. El Bulli is a very famous restaurant in Barcelona.
Yeah.
It seated about 25 people. He is so committed to his craft that he stopped doing it. And what he's doing now is mad stuff. And there's also chess grandmasters, quoted, philosophers and film directors. Well, I've met a lot of film directors, an awful lot of them are bums as well. And I've met a few philosophers. This is nonsense. The people... I like Ken. He's a fine writer. He's trying to say...
I'm not doing his piece justice, by the way. I did read it this morning, but I probably didn't do it justice in my
summation. You didn't do it justice because you pretended you understood it. Fatal mistake. But it was perfect.
I've read 145 articles today.
Times, because they'll all pretend, and you get bigger space next week. I'd love to debate it with him. He tells us, to cut it short, that what... Guardiola is doing is decodifying the game. He's decodifying the game. That means he's deconstructing it. He's taking it apart. This is much more better English than Ken uses. He's taking it apart, and he's going to come up with a new game where you don't need defenders.
Well, this is a quote from the piece. You can argue that maybe the way Guardiola wants to play is unnecessarily complicated, that it is too totalising, too controlling, that it demands too much of his players, but you can't deny that his influence is a real and measurable thing, that his stamp can be seen on every team he has coached, and also on all the opposing teams who concoct special plans to counteract a team they know in advance will dominate them.
Almost none of that is true, actually.
Why?
Let me just ask you one question. What does the word totalising mean?
In that context?
Take your time.
Let me just go back to the piece here.
Get a dictionary if you need one.
No. Okay, so hang on a second now. Let me just find the sentence here.
No, I'm asking you, what does the word totalising mean?
Well, totalising in I suppose in his commitment, in the player's commitment to play under his philosophy, in that it is total commitment to the way he wants to play, which is passing, attacking football. But
why doesn't Ken say it's total commitment?
The Cruyff way, basically total football, a la Cruyff, basically.
Right. Decodify is a word that Ken uses, and Ken says he doesn't know what it means, and he said, I looked it up in the dictionary, and I couldn't find it.
Can we ring Ken there? Here, can I give you his number? Ring Ken and get him on the pitch.
Ask him, has he found the word decodify in the dictionary? He said he hadn't found it so far. So he's praising Guardiola for doing something that he doesn't himself understand.
Well, I don't
want to be unfair to him.
Well, I want him to come on, because I'm not doing a very good job defending him here. So I want him to come on and talk about it. We're going to try him here and see if he'll answer the phone. But can you not appreciate Guardiola's attacking qualities as a coach?
He's a fine coach, but what made him was Messi, Xavi and Iniesta at Barcelona. He tweaked that, put Messi, did more than tweak it. He radically changed it by making Messi not a right winger, but a centre forward or deep lying player who was involved in the midfield stuff and in everything. He's a very fine coach, but he certainly didn't revolutionise Bayern Munich, because Jupp Heynckes, the coach that was sacked to get him in, had won the Champions League, the Cup and the League in Germany, that treble, the season before Pep came. And Pep didn't win the Champions League, and he certainly didn't revolutionise Bayern Munich. They went nowhere, except they won the German League like they do every year by 10 points.
Eamon, do you not think a lot of the time that these coaches get a lot more credit than what they deserve?
Yes, I think it's not so much that they get so much more credit. There's so much talked about them. It is a player's game. I agree with that, Gary. And players and their greatness, I think it's the same in golf. Maybe coaches get too much credit.
Yeah.
But
But do you not think at half time the United players must have just gone, listen, we got to win this on our own? I mean, because their strategy in the second half seemed to be completely different.
Well, they just went for it, and they played on the front foot. I mean, Pogba's 2 goals came within the space of 6 minutes. You know, that's them back in the game, and then Chris Smalling got the winner. But what I think people are beginning to understand is that the way to get at Manchester City and Guardiola is to be on the front foot. And to be fair to Liverpool, in the games they've played, and they played 3 times this year, Liverpool were on the front foot in all the games. Unfortunately, they got a player sent off, Mane, in the first game away at Manchester City. But there is a way to deal with him. They won't win the Premier League by 16 points next year, I wouldn't have thought, unless the other contending clubs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham and Manchester United, shoot themselves in the foot the way they have been doing this year. And he's also spent more money than anybody else. Much more.
Here's a couple of texts for you, Eamon. City have the best defensive record in the Premier League. It's totally unfair to say that they can't defend, says James. And one more.
Come off it. Bayern had the best and Barcelona the best. If you're playing inferior teams every week, you're bound to. This is statistical nonsense.
Okay, and one more. Man City have dominated across the whole season in the league with at least 4 other huge teams who have solid squads and finance backing. No other league in the world has that challenge. Eamon's being flippant for the sake of it. By the way, I'm not a Man City fan.
I'm not being flippant. I'm actually deadly serious, because he is Guardiola deserves respect, and what he's producing, his team is producing, deserves serious analysis. But when people start using language that they don't themselves understand, and that no one else understands, to describe what he's doing, then you have to ask questions.